Good morning, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, the book of all the faces. Hope everybody's doing well. This is the EntreChats daily morning show that I've been doing every day, Tuesday through Saturday, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then I'm attempting for the first time to multi-stream and send this out elsewhere. I'm hoping that this goes well. I know it's a little bit slow at the moment. I am getting ready to hopefully remedy that in just a moment. All right, but the point of today, I want to talk about some of the best ways to continue to communicate with customers, clients, staff, and stuff like that. Obviously, the number one way is going to be video. Podcasts are great. Emails are great, but one of the biggest things is going to be video. And the reason why I say that is because you can see me. Instagram, you can see me. Facebook, you can see me. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully YouTube is going. I don't know if it will or it won't, but we'll hopefully let it do its thing. It's like you can see me. And it's just like you can see my mannerisms. You can see my smile. You can see what's happening. You're more involved in things like that. And while written forms of communication are good, while audible only forms of communication are great, one of the best ways to communicate with your customers and clients right now is going to be video. Now, that's already a given. But some of the different ways to leverage video in addition to some of these other mediums is going to be highly important. Like we saw this weekend for the first time for a lot of churches, they took the initiative to go ahead and start like their very first ever live stream. They never maybe tried it before, so they had like 2-3 days to try to figure this thing out and just try to get everything that they could get going. Or so like for me, being in that online Christian YouTuber space, I'm not necessarily per se like a Christian YouTuber, but I am a Christian that's on YouTube. That makes sense. And it was like people asking about their church, or it's like, what about this camera? What about that one? And trying to, hurry up and do what's what. And it's like at the end of the day, we all have our phones. They probably will not turn around if they forgot their Bible, but I promise you, plenty of people hit a U-turn more than one occasion, late for work and otherwise, and probably stopped and got breakfast along the way, with when they forgot their phone. They probably, and is don't sound all that great, probably didn't do that for their Bible. You know what I'm saying? As important as that would be, if you're a Christian, if you're a believer, to have the word with you or whatever the case is. Same thing with women for us. It's like, I can't say for me, but for most of women, it's just like your purse. If you get your purse, U-turn. Hold, kids, stay in the car. Don't get stole. Okay? Stay in the car. Don't get stole. And it's like, okay, great. However, what's next? Okay, you know what I'm saying? So now you've done the live stream. So now what? So especially for ministry, especially for companies, if you're wanting to get something started, if you're wanting to do something, I think now is when it's going to be one of the most important times to go ahead and start doing that. Like for real. There's no barriers anymore. There's no gatekeepers anymore. There's no anybody or anything in your way, because even literally we can see now during an epidemic crisis, I can live stream on my phone. I can live stream multi-stream or simul-stream to multiple platforms on the internet. You know what I'm saying? With no problem. And so, actually, I want to close that off. All right. And so, like, the thing is that how are you going to best communicate with them? Okay, you may have done a live stream or thinking about it. Maybe you aren't comfortable on camera. I never was. To begin with, it's like I did it because it was a necessity for my business and just wound up being something that I came to love and appreciate. So it's like, it's not honestly even about our comfort levels anymore. It's not about, saying like, well, I kind of don't know, or if I don't know all the answers. So what? It's like, do you want what you want or not? Seriously. And if you do have a business, a lot of brick and mortar locations took a hit. And so a lot of us online content creators, a lot of us entrepreneurs that primarily do our business online, trying to help them like, okay, here are some of the things you can do. Now, one of the things that you honestly can do, and a lot of people don't think about this, and I know it was like for sure like restaurants and stuff like that got hit hard when it came to just solely not having an email list. An email community can hold you over for a lot of things. I've known entrepreneurs that are very successful in like fitness and video and all kinds of things, and just different niches and markets and areas of business. And they still had to have an email list. They wanted to drop that book. The publisher were asking them, how big of an email list do you have? How big of an online following do you have? Not just for vanity metrics or for vanity numbers, but because it actually made a difference. And the reason for that is because if YouTube shut down today, Facebook shut down today, if you didn't have somebody's number in your phone book, how are you going to communicate with them? Likes on a page don't matter when it's on rented ground. And so how many subscribers we have on YouTube don't mean anything. Doesn't matter. It's still rented ground. But guess what's not? Diana.link.com. VisualDcreative.com. Not plugging myself, but I own several real estate properties in this online space. So if you own a URL, which you can get for as low as $8, even if it was only one page, you have the ability to build an email list, and there are platforms and different services and stuff out there that allow you to do that. And so if you're communicating with them right now, it's not just like, hey, stay with us, we're going to open again, I always lead with the them first premise. The them first premise says that you want to do something that's going to serve the other person first. How can you serve them first? Not necessarily you first. How can you serve them first? So if you have some kind of not online, but a brick and mortar studio, you had some kind of food location or whatever the case is, how can you serve them? What is it on your menu that doesn't get a lot of play, that you could probably educate people about the health benefits that it has? Like I always see the food, I always call it like quinoa. And I'm like, what kind of word is this? I'm like, it's quinoa. And it's like, I didn't see a W anywhere, but it's called quinoa. And so it's like you'll see people eat quinoa. I think it's disgusting. That tapioca, there's a few things on my poop list. It's just like, it's trash. And quinoa is one of them. So, but that's something that has like health benefits, is different things. Or if you're having irritable bowel syndrome, there are certain foods that help you. Even like we always talk about the whole apple a day keeps a doctor away thing. An apple, just one, will help your digestive system. I promise you, if you're having issues going poo, Apple will help with that. Not an Apple phone, not an Apple Watch, but just a legit Apple will help with that. And so if people don't even know that, there are things that you know, and that's seeing the value in what is it that you have, what is it that you could do, what is it that you could share that's helpful to people. I talk about cameras a lot. So I was doing like a little training last night for getting ready to do this online summit that I'll be doing for my work, and then I'll actually get to participate in one where I'm being a speaker at, and a lot of different opportunities that are coming up that I'm extremely thankful for. But I was talking about a way to get like two cameras. So you have this camera, and then you can use a camera like this also, still with the same kind of streaming setup, and it's just using a USB cable. And it's like, well, how is that possible? Because most people either think I'm just going to hit the record button on this camera, and then some people think I'm just going to take pictures with this camera, and then that's it. So if that's the case, you're missing components. If like I only primarily talk about video, it's a whole photo side of this camera as well. There are a lot of things. You think like big picture, small picture. So the things that you think may not be super important, the things that you think may not be super helpful, very much so is. So if you're trying to figure out how can I communicate with my clients outside of my office hours, outside of my shop hours or whatever, first of all, you could be going live talking about some of the things. What are some of the commonly asked questions that you have? You don't have to live stream for a long time. You don't have to continue to talk for a long time about whatever. It could be 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever the case is. It does not have to be long. I've only been doing this for 9 minutes. And I would venture to say that, especially on the 9 minutes on the thingy baba. So it's just like for the most part though, different tips. I could do tip 1, 2, 3, whatever the case is. But the thing is that there's information that can be shared, could be shared, that will continue to provide value to the other people. And so knowing that, what are some of the frequently asked questions that you get, that come in through, depending on how big your organization is, from customer service? What are some of the things that is a misconception, or it's a myth or something like that people don't know about a lot? They assume because the they stays in the world have told them something, or they read something enough times that they believed it, and it's not fact. It's just a common rumor. You know what I'm saying? So what could you teach them? So email is a huge way that you can communicate with people, and you'll continue to provide value to them. So, well, that's not helping my bottom line. I'm using my lights, my electricity, my blah, 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 and that's not helping any. Again, leading with the them first. Right now is not necessarily a time probably where you're going to be able to capitalize financially, especially if you have a brick and mortar, as the same way as if you were going to just be in front of that person or whatever the case. But it's the next best thing to being able to best capitalize on still running your business in a close to profitable way or profitable way. For those of us that have had, like an online presence, it's business as usual. It's business as usual. But if it's not been, guess what? The next best day to get started in live streaming or get started with video is going to be today. And so if you have anything that you're doing, you could be a fitness coach, you could be a health coach, you could be a cook, you could do for example, one of the ladies that I follow, she every so often, now she does like design, like her name is Anita by Design is her YouTube channel. And so like she'll make stuff like shirt like this, we go buy it. She makes it, buys the fabric and make it. And so she shares different tutorials and things like that. The thing that's cool is that every so often when she's cooking dinner, she'll just have her phone, no talking. It just may be 1 or 2 sentences or whatever. And she's doing like little food tutorials of how she's making her dinner. It's going to be ground turkey and this, that, or what have you. And it's going to be, this kind of a meat and blah, 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 and this vegetable and this seasoning and this much. So in a minute, you learn how to cook a full meal. Now, granted, it may have taken her 30, 45 minutes, but you're just getting those clips. And it's enough to be like, Dad, I think I could do that, or I could try that. So breaking down either a simple recipe or a complex recipe and just sharing that. So if you have a restaurant, you could share the basics of something of what goes into creating that process, or why you could even say if you're like Chick-fil-A, which they probably don't have to do any advertising whatsoever, but it's just like you could say like, here's why fried chicken actually isn't as bad as people perceive it to be. And it could be one sole thing of because we use a different grease. 5 to 7 minutes, video over. If that, so you can start with like 90 seconds. Start with like a 90-second power tip. What can you create that's a 90-second power tip? What could you create that's something that's going to help benefit people? And then when it comes to like the social handles, it's continuing the conversation or inviting them to a conversation. Some people get their social stuff wrong because they're like promote 87% of the time. You know what I'm saying? It's just like every time you turn, it's just like, and you get turned off. Same thing can happen. It don't matter if you're a nonprofit, it don't matter. And you just simply are saying, come to church. They don't care. And that's the biggest thing also when it comes to online. Assume they don't care. They have more important things to do, and they chose to click on you. They chose to watch this. Or when they had time, they searched for the thing. Then it was, important to them. And even still, you're on the clock. So when you're doing something, don't sit around. Like I kind of had to do that a little bit this morning, and that already was kind of like annoying to me, like on Instagram. It's just like, they don't want to hear you say, all right, we just wait for a few more people. And it's 47 minutes waiting for a few. Do the daggone thing. Hop off. More people are always going to see it on the replay. I don't care how the numbers, if it was the same percentages per se, it's always the same. Even if they have a large following, you'll still get more people that find that after the fact. And so just go ahead, speak to who's there, speak to the replay people, especially if it's first in the morning. Or not in the morning, in the beginning of the stream. Go ahead and do that first. Do it first and just be like, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking about the best ways to communicate with your audience, blah, blah, blah. So if you're watching this on the replay, thanks for being here. So Henry, good to see you, my friend. Glad you're here. And so it's like, if that's the case, go ahead and get started. Because as much as you probably don't want to be on camera or you're uncomfortable because you're not doing it, get to the point. Because it's respecting the time and honoring the time for those that will watch on the replay. So, and then too, when it comes to social, what are some components? What are some things that you could pull out already? Because there are certain things that I constantly teach when it comes to online video, and that is lead with the them first premise. Assume that they don't care. I have a coaching call with a client later on today. Assume that they don't care. And that's the hardest thing I always have to tell every client. Assume that they don't care, and they just like their face fall off temporarily. It's just like, but assume that they don't care. They have other stuff that's more important, than whatever thing that you think in your video is important for them. It's not. Keith Williams, good to see you. Good morning. Glad you're here. Over on Facebook, the Book of Faces. But it's like, assume that they don't care, because they don't. So until that you bring value to them first, until that you have earned their time over and over and over again, It's like people, I just listen to constantly, Dr. Miles Monroe, who unfortunately passed away some years back. And he would always say how like artists get so depressed after they have a hard time. They're doing everything right, top of the charts, amazing life. They make one mistake. Maybe they get on drugs and they fall off for a while. And then while they're going through therapy, they always hit them with I thought they loved me. Thought their fans loved me. I thought that they would be the ride or dies. I hate the ride or dies. Can we just ride and live? I don't want to die with you. Like, it ain't that serious. Now, I appreciate a lot of people. I ain't riding and dying. We can ride and you can drop me off if you plan on going off the curb. Or, And just like, don't even pick me up. How about that? If you about to plan to die. And then first of all, so rabbit trail, who says that? I get the sentiment behind it, but who says imagine going to pick somebody up and they just, hey man, you ride or die, right? And just like, why? Ain't we just going to work or going to get something? Where are we going? You know what I'm saying? It's just, man, you ride or die. It's like, no, man, you know what? I'm going to call off today. Today is a good day to call off. Shoot. But, anyway, it's just like, but think though, seriously, it's like, if that's the case, don't think that even after you've known somebody or whatever, they have better things to do. They have other things to do. They have a family that they care about and love more than you, no matter how much that they know you per se, unless y'all take an online relationship offline, which is helpful to do that when you can do live events. But it's just like, but just know though also, it's just like they have other priorities of life. And while it may come to online, there is a hierarchy of followers or creators or individuals or companies that they care about more. For example, ask somebody about their favorite coffee company. Ask somebody about their favorite clothing company or favorite brand designer or whatever. They never talk to anybody from the company probably, but they will defend them till their dying days. Brand loyalty is something that's fleeting with, especially like myself with the millennial generation, but there is still a way to get our brand loyalty. And maintain it. But we ain't gonna love you if your price go too high, or if your price go too far out of whack. So still knowing your people and what's in the confines of that love and care. When is the cutoff? Where is the cutoff? Or where is it where it's too far reaching? Because I think all of us have gotten to the point to where we cared about something or we cared about a brand and they disappointed us, and then we pull back. And then it's just like, yeah, I may buy them sometimes, or I see it in the store and it's like, yeah, I may grab it, but you start to pull back and then eventually you disappear. You could have shot with them for 20 years and it's just like a couple things happen or one thing happened and it's just enough to make you fall back. So especially for small business entrepreneurs, whether you have a brick and mortar location, whether you have a physical location or whatever, then it's just like, just know the confines of where your people are. So Henry on Facebook saying, I'll ride with you, sis. No dying. Hey, that's what I'm saying. Can we just ride and go someplace good? Let's go get some ice cream. When you riding and getting ice cream, let's go get some ice cream. You lactose intolerant, you want to ride and get some frozen yogurt? Let's go get some froyo. You know what I'm saying? But that's crazy. But so as I'll say, to wrap this up, because we don't need to go long today. But the thing is that there are different ways to communicate with people, and knowing for your demographic, knowing for your audience what's most important to them. How do they prefer to be communicated to? How do they prefer to be talked to? For me, if it was up to me and just my normal thinking and how I do stuff, I would be so tech nerdy with my teaching, but it would turn a whole bunch of people off. Because it's just not like, they don't want to hear science fair project, Bill Nye the Science Guy line of explanation. They just want to know how to do it and move on. Again, to them first, yeah, I care, but it's a cutoff. Again, hurry up, get to the point, give me some value to them first, and then speak their language. A lot of people got a lot of work to do on that, but you can. But imagine, and so the thing is though too, and I'll wrap up with this, the thing is though too, for anything that you're doing online, any email that you write, any social media posts that you do, even like social media content that I do, whether it's for myself or I'm doing for clients, if they were to search for something on YouTube, on Google, this is not a house that believes in Bing, so so it's like if they were searching on Google, what they looking for? You know what I'm saying? What are they looking for? What would they type in? So I always talk about, you know what I'm saying, dealing with stuff with cameras and things like that, for video work and trainings and things like that, because my passion is helping busy entrepreneurs simplify the video creation process so they can get out there and get it. Obviously, that's not the last part of that, but it's just like, but so that you can connect deeper with the people that you're meeting or the people that need you the most. Get past this so you can get to this and talk to the people that need you, that have questions, that want to know, that wish, you know what I'm saying, like, get to the meat of it all. It doesn't help me to help you thinking I'm going to teach you the whole scientific process of what goes in. Don't care. So speak the language of the person in the way that they want to be communicated to. Speak the language in the way that they would say it. So, and speak with their level of concern. It's not trying to be shady or shifty or no kind of stuff like that. It's not trying to do no funny stuff, but it's simply speaking their language and in the way that they prefer to be communicated to. It's like if you've ever been to a doctor and your doctor had horrible bedside manner, or the nurses were terrible, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case is, you don't go back to that doctor. You don't care how high rated that they are. They have horrible bedside manner. It doesn't work. You go someplace to eat a few times that maybe you want to dine in or something like that, and the person just rude, disrespectful. You give it one more go, rude and disrespectful every time you go in there. How many more times you gonna waste your time, waste your money and your energy and your effort, especially your time that you can't get back? At least there are ways to recoup the money. It's not ways to recoup your time ever. So it's like leading with gratitude, leading with gratefulness that somebody is choosing to watch you, choosing to follow you, choosing to engage with you. It's always a gift. And so to enter into that thinking like, well, how am I gonna get an ROI? I know that's the number one way probably for most people. It's like, even if they are ready to pay me that day, I will decline them as a coaching client, because you're leading with the wrong premise, the wrong heart, the wrong whatever. You're just trying to capitalize on stuff. I can't help you. Because you're not going to care about the other person. Everything is going to be super harsh, attacky, verbiage and language that's very harsh, or you're manipulative in the way that you're leading with fear or leading with, you know what I'm saying? Can't do that. Care about your people. The biggest thing is caring. And care and empathy doesn't run out. You don't get tired of it. You know what I'm saying? You don't. You constantly are caring about the person on the other end and how you can best serve them first. If you can do that, that is going to help you communicate better with emails. It's going to help you communicate better with social media content posts, whether you're doing videos and things like that. Even if it comes to like crafting a better headline in a way that either not just gets their attention, but it's going to stop the scroll, which is the number one thing when it comes to your social media posts, to get them to go through the hierarchy of engagement that I've talked about before on my different channels, especially on the podcast. I believe I did a whole episode about that. So you can go to Diana.link/podcast if you want to check that out for the list of shows. But lead with the them first. Actually care. It'll cover you through a whole lot of things. And even if you don't know any marketing things around it, caring and empathy gets you so much further than anybody trying to do any kind of shiesty marketing strategies every time. So that's where I'm going to leave it for today's EntreChats Daily. Keith saying we're going to ride and thrive. I heard that. That's what I'm talking about. So last thing as I wrap up here, I just want to encourage y'all. It is getting hard. It is getting tough. Everybody having issues with social distancing except us introverts. We're fine. It's business as usual. How did our daily life become a term that everybody is hating right now? It's like social distancing. I've been doing that my whole life and trying to get other people to participate. Like, no, don't come over. No, I don't want to go to the party. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, so we've come to find out, introverts, that that the world does not love us as much as they say. But I promise you, like I've been doing it with my friend, started yesterday, and just do like a FaceTime or send them videos like, hey, this is the extroverted check-in. It's a national problem. The extroverts are flipping out. They can't talk to people. So I'm doing FaceTimes, doing, check-ins with text messages, because we'll be fine. We have books lined up to read. We have journal entries that need to be done. Okay. We are out here, not in these streets, in our own homes, long before anything got wrong. So, that's why I'm going to leave it, y'all. Again, these shows are Tuesday through Saturday, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I'll get this hooked up a little bit better for, again, it was just on Instagram Live. And so I'm trying to get this going and syndicated to Facebook as well as YouTube. So those simulcast there also. So tomorrow you join in 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, or you can catch the replay the very next day. And again, you go to Diana.link/podcast to catch those replays and the podcast audio versions for these. With that, guys, I'll leave you with my favorite quote that I always love and end my podcast on with Jim Rohn. A quote from Jim Rohn, and it's that the winds of life blows on us all, but it's how you set your sail. The winds of life blows on us all, but it is how you set your sail. And the winds of life is sure as hell blowing on each and every one of us. You're going to need to set your sail in a direction that's going to carry you, not just through, but beyond into the next vision for what you have for your life and what's most important to you to accomplish your purpose for why you're here. So with that, guys, live with passion. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning for the next EntreChats Daily Morning Show. Take care.